Going to give us an update as to what is going on here at Cape Park, and there's a really exciting time. You go. Okay, she's going to yell. She's gonna...
just use that more comfortable, so if you can't hear me, just let me know. It is such a pleasure to be able to host this event and to have this forum available so that we can share with you all the exciting things that are going on here at Kingwood Park High School. And so today we've chosen to highlight our community service and service learning projects that we have done over the past 5 or 6 weeks. And so we'll start with our football team on October 25th, led by Coach Holly. Came up with the idea to purchase jerseys and sell pink jerseys and sell those jerseys to individuals who may want to honor a survivor of cancer or to remember someone maybe that they have lost to cancer. And through that process, they would sell the jersey, put the name on the back of the jersey, and present that to that individual or that family after that game on the 25th. We raised over $13,000. That will go to MD Anderson Pediatric Brain Tumor Research. So, you know, Coach Holly has had many inquiries on how to grow that event, and so I know it's just going to be even bigger and better next year. The week before Thanksgiving, we had 3 projects that we held here on campus. One of those being our Fall Frenzy, and that is an event where our faculty versus our student body in a volleyball game. 2 students purchase tickets to go watch the game, and then we donate that money to a charity in which we're going to name here pretty soon. We raised over $2,100 for that event. So we'll name an organization to receive that money that we've raised through that event. Our Algebra 1 team, led by our teachers on this campus, Algebra 1 team, one day they partnered with Stop Hunger Now, an organization called Stop Hunger Now, and it's an actual service learning project in which they packaged enough of these to feed 10,000. Wow. Make 10,000. So this contains 6 meals in it. So over the course of the day, they packaged enough to serve 10,000 meals. And the learning part of that was they charted their progress, and then they're going to use that data and that information to learn about linear equations throughout the rest of the semester. So while helping those in need, we're doing a little learning at the same time. So they took on that project, very proud of that. And then we held our annual day of service that week. For those of you that haven't heard about that, it's 100% of our freshman class, plus an additional older students, juniors and seniors, who are our Panther Pals, who support and help with this day of service. Those students are put on buses, and they go throughout Houston and here locally. And it's about 15 different sites that they're bused to. Some of those sites in Houston would include the Houston Food Bank, Star Coalition, Open Door Mission, which is the soup kitchen serving hot meals for the homeless, and Camp Hope, a facility for veterans that supports those who have PTSD. So those were some sites in Houston that they went to, and then locally they went to Family Time, Ham, Village Learning Center, some of our local schools, and they also went to Silverado, just to name a few. So those guys, it's a great undertaking to organize something of that, but really that is the foundation. The community service piece is such a foundation of this school, and it really molds our culture of our expectations for our students here on this campus. And so we're deeply embedded in those types of things. And So just wanted to really share those with you, and then if you have the opportunity, Kingwood Park recently received an accolade from Cities Described. It's a travel organization, and there is an article. If you go to their website, citiesdescribed.com, there's an article and a link, and it features there's actually a photograph of Kingwood Park High School in there. If you click on that, it'll take you to the article, and it lists the 14 best high schools in Texas. And Kingwood Park was named number 8. And if you read the entire article, the 14, most of the other schools were magnet schools, private schools, etc. We were the only public high school on that list, so we're very proud of that. Just a couple of quotes in the article. Kingwood Park truly is a unique school that leads in student service, leadership, and building relationships in the school between staff and students. Kingwood Park is one of the most, if not the most warm, welcoming, spirited, and truly unique schools you will ever come across in Texas and in the nation. So if you have the opportunity, just pull the article up, read a little bit about it. We were very excited about that, wanted to share that with you. And if there's ever anything that Kingwood Park High School can do for you, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're always willing to help and looking to give back. So thank you all very much for coming today.
Thank you, Lisa. That was awesome. How exciting to have what a phenomenal high school right here in our community. We, according to our agenda, Representative Dan Huberty is supposed to be right here. He's not. He actually got stuck in Austin, and he wasn't able to make it in like the hour, in 1 hour. And we don't really encourage high-speed driving from Austin to Houston. So we have a special treat. Dr. Guy Sconso, superintendent of our school district, actually has been spending hours upon hours with Representative Huberty on some of the information that Representative Huberty was going to share. So Dr. Sconso is going to come and be our pseudo Dan Huberty.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. And we too are extraordinarily proud of Kingwood Park High School. This is an amazing campus. And truly that's only one of many recognitions that the campus has received that Lisa referenced. So I really can't speak for Dan, but I will share with you things I've learned from Dan very recently. When legislature goes back in session in January, it's been estimated, of course the state controller has not made her official estimate yet, but it's estimated that the legislature, for the first time maybe ever, will have anywhere between $10 to $12 billion in anticipated surplus to appropriate over the next biennium. That's huge. That's the huge good news. The huge bad news is there are needs that far exceed $10 to $12 billion. Roads, water, education are just among a few of them. As it relates, selfishly, to education, probably the 3 big hot buttons this legislative session will be funding. We do expect and anticipate that some additional funding may come, may find its way to public education, probably in the form of restoring the rest of the money that was cut in 2011. They did restore about 2/3 of the cut in 2013. We're thinking that they may restore the rest of those funds this legislative session. So funding will be an issue. I want to share with you quickly and parenthetically, that doesn't resolve the litigation over school finance in our state. We're awaiting making oral arguments and filing briefs with the State Supreme Court responding to the appeal of the district court's decision in the school finance litigation. But the really cool thing about where we are in that whole process, cool from the standpoint from someone who's very biased and prejudiced about the topic. In 2013, the State Supreme Court Justice Wallace Jefferson retired. Last month, former Supreme Court Justice Wallace Jefferson, decided to join our legal team. And so he will be making the oral argument to the state Supreme Court on behalf of the school district. So we're really, really, really excited about that, because he has a very long history in school finance litigation. So money for schools, testing is going to be another huge issue. That's good news. Hopefully the legislature will continue this session what they started last session, and that is reducing the emphasis, frankly overemphasis, on a single state assessment that really seeks to define who a kid is and define who a campus is and define what a district is. And I argue strenuously that a single test on a single day doesn't define any of those people or any of those things. And then lastly, and I think as importantly, pre-kindergarten education will be very, very hot this session. I think the legislature is keenly aware, I know our representative, Dan Huberty, is keenly aware that pre-kindergarten makes a significant difference in terms of children at some point graduating from high school and furthering their education. There has to be that foundation. When you think about the reality that 90% of a human being's brain is developed by age 5, there's a lot of work that needs to be done up to age 5 in order to really best assure success for a child. So legislatively, that's where everything is at and what we expect when they go back in session in January. If I may, Corinne, I just want to end with a quick story that some of you are aware of, but for me it's very illustrative of how when we do work together, we really can make a difference, at least occasionally, as to what happens in Austin. At the start of this school year, and I should be embarrassed to admit this, but at the start of this school year, for the first time I learned that under our state funding system, we in Humble ISD provide transportation to our early college high school students to and from the Atascocita Lone Star campus to the main campus, not far from here. We do that because primarily juniors and seniors in that program have to take pretty much all of their coursework at the main campus, so that when they graduate from high school with their diploma, they're also graduating with an associate's degree. So we provide that transportation. We also provide transportation, shuttle transportation, from one of our special needs schools, a program called Mosaic, for our adult students, ages 18 to 22, for a number of them to go back and forth to the Kingwood Lone Star main campus, again, for services and for some classes. Well, I learned for the first time at the start of this school year, the state doesn't reimburse us for that transportation. And they don't reimburse us under the state system because the main campus of Lone Star Kingwood is not at Humble ISD. It is geographically in New Caney ISD. And that's the only reason why we don't get reimbursed. But that didn't sound really fair to me. So I immediately, when I left my transportation director, got in touch with the Representative Huberty, shared that with him, and what Dan said to me, and again, remember, this is at the beginning of September, what Dan said to me, he said, I'll tell you what, you draft me a letter to the commissioner, and I'll send it off under my signature, but just end the letter by stating that I suggest, Dan Huberty, I suggest, Mr. Commissioner, that you resolve this problem, you fix this inequity, or I'll attempt to fix it via new legislation this session. On Tuesday, this past Tuesday, the commissioner sent a memo to every superintendent of schools in the state of Texas informing us that effective last school year, retroactive 1 year, all of that transportation to college campuses outside of a school district for the purpose of students taking classes will be reimbursed. So that's huge. And it really is huge. Again, my bias, I think we have an unbelievable asset in our state representative, Dan Huberty, but I think, again, my point is that it is illustrative of if we take the time to communicate with our elected officials and try to inform them and educate them about what the real issues are from the boots on the ground folks, it can make a difference. So, thank you all very, very much.
So so with that, let me give a little plug to the Chamber's elected officials reception. Seems like a perfect time to do that, right? So all these people that are helping represent you and making decisions that affect our everyday lives will be all in one room together December 9th at what's formerly known as Redstone, now called the Golf Club of Houston. Am I correct? Okay. Everybody know that Redstone got a new name? Right? A few of you. Yeah. Most people look very confused when you say Golf Club of Houston. Like, what, we have a new one? No, we don't. No, Redstone changed the name, didn't tell anybody. So now you know, because you came here today. So, and it will be at what time, Jenna?
It's 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Okay, at 8 a.m. So Jenna Armstrong here in front can give you all the information about it. Plus there's information when you signed in too, but it's going to be fantastic. So try to carve some time out if you can do that. Our next speaker is a man who wears many hats. Besides being a concerned resident here in Kingwood, and I think you were here like since it was born, right? Since Kingwood was born. And so he knows like everything that there was ever to know about Kingwood. But besides his regular day job and being like one of the very first residents here, he also is on the TERS board, he's on the Kingwood Mobility steering committee, yada, 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 yada. He knows a lot, and so he is here to help bring some clarity as to some information that has gone out about, well, I'll let him fill in blanks, but things are going on here in Kingwood. So, Stan, come on up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I know some of the comments I may make is familiar with at least a couple of people in the audience, and we'll mention those in just a minute here. Sam, why don't you go ahead and put up the... What I'm going to do, first of all, is quickly talk about the Lake Houston Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, or as most people call it, TERS. It's TERS 10 is the number for it. And we were created in 1996, 98, I guess it was 97 officially, when Kingwood was annexed by the city of Houston. Friendswood Development Company particularly talked to the city about creating a tax increment reinvestment zone so that some of the monies that on the land that's raw land at that time, that any funds that were developed from the tax base there could be used to help pay for infrastructure such as water, sewer, drainage, and paving, to encourage the developers to finish developing out the Kingwood area. And so the city of Houston agreed to create the TERS organization for a 30-year period until 2027. And the TERS organization was a little bit limited in what we could do or couldn't do, in that we could not enter into contracts for various projects. We were creating tax benefit. This map here kind of generally shows the whole Kingwood area, but the whole Kingwood area is not a part of the TERS organization. Basically the areas that are shown in pink here and this area down here, the Barrington and this development, part of the development down here, Ron Holly development, and then of course everything over here on the west side of 59, which is referred to as Kingwood Place West. Those areas are in the TERS boundary. Now you see little pink areas that are connecting. Well, this was in the TERS boundary down here too. There are little pink areas that you can't see real well on this map, but because the boundary of the TERS has to be contiguous from one piece to the other, we over time have annexed and connected all of the major thoroughfares, the Kingwood Diversion Ditch and Kingwood Drive, North Park Drive, except for a little piece in here, into the TERS boundary. And then for a couple of reasons. One, now that the TERS has developed far enough along, here last year, the city of Houston agreed to let us create a redevelopment authority. The redevelopment authority and the TERS authority are basically two different entities that have two different, a little bit different powers. It's the same board of directors. We have 7 directors. One of the directors is appointed by the Humboldt Independent School District. The other 6 directors are appointed by the City of Houston. And the mayor makes recommendations to City Council and those appointed, including the chair. And currently, I was recently appointed again as the chair for the TERS board. We have 2 of the directors in the audience. Tom Brode's been on the TERS board and redevelopment authority for many years now, and is our secretary. And then our newest director is Dr. Roger Brown. See, he's here in the audience too somewhere, or was. Anyway, Dr. Roger Brown is the newest addition to our board from the Humboldt Independent School District. He replaced Deborah Brode. Anyway, we're, Deborah Yoakum. I made a mistake on it. Anyway, we're very pleased. All of the directors that are on the TERS board, we're all volunteers. We don't get, matter of fact, it costs us money to be on this board. And most of us want to see some tax dollars from these areas in pinks reused here in the Kingwood area. So we're trying to help keep some money here locally that otherwise would go downtown and we'd have to fight for it through the CIP program. And so we're working constantly with trying to maintain some funding here. Now right now, we've got a lot of development. We're going to talk about this in a little more detail here. There's a lot of development happening up in this area with Friendswood Development Company. Michael talked a little more about that. The Royal Brook development. A lot of this area, except for a small area where the Bald Eagle is, has pretty much been built out here and here. The Barrington is just about complete. There's still some development here to happen. And then there's still quite a bit to happen over here. Now, the one development that's in this area that's called Kingwood Park, that's not in the TERS boundary, at least at the present time. We can annex more areas into the TERS boundary as long as they are in the city limits. If they're not in the city limits of Houston, then we cannot include them in our boundary. There are some areas, obviously, you can look at right in through here that are in the city limits of Houston, but they're essentially developed out, so there's really no benefit for us to include those into the TERS boundary because there's no increment. Because once an area is brought into the boundary, there's a base year established as to what that tax rate or tax revenue is from that piece of property. That continues to go to the city of Houston. Then any incremental increase in the tax revenue on a piece of property then can be used to help pay off the developers for their improvements that they're doing, such as Friendswood. And we've entered into about 7 or 8 different development agreements with various developments around town, around the area here. So most of us, that if you live in the greater Kingwood area, like I live generally in the Bear Branch area, my taxes all go downtown. None of those come back to the TERS. But if you live in any of these pink areas, then part of your taxes do come back to the TERS boundary, so we can use them for projects here locally. A couple of quick projects that we've done in the past that we have leveraged our money with the city of Houston. The library that's been built, the TERS had funding involved in the library. The Kingwood Community Center, the city of Houston essentially built the building with their funds. The Tax Incremental Improvement District, we paid for basically all of the equipment and furnishings to go in the building. The other project recently that we completed in the last couple of years is North Park Drive, basically from Kroger's here at Westlake Houston Parkway out to Mills Branch Drive. There was only 2 lanes there at one time. We completed the other 2 lanes with funding we were able to get back here to Kingwood. The city of Houston does still continue to do projects on their own, like the sidewalks that are under construction along Kingwood Drive here from Green Oak out to the college. That's all being funded by the city of Houston. The TERS does not have any involvement there. Now, what we are also funding, and Corinne mentioned this, is the Kingwood Mobility Study. Some of y'all may have had the privilege of coming out to some of the public meetings. We're glad to have you come out. We've been pushing very much to get as much public input as we can. And there is still an email site that's available for people to voice their opinion on what projects are needed in Kingwood. But we've narrowed it down basically to There are about 10 or 12 major intersections throughout Kingwood that are along the major thoroughfares again. The internal collector streets we can't do anything with, but that was the first priority of the residents, that we needed to add more right turn lanes, left turn lanes, extend some, improve some intersections. And those are probably the first priority that's going to go forward, mainly because those can be funded probably quicker. The next priority is improving Kingwood Drive from 59, which is here, over to Woodland Hills Drive, and improving it to 3 lanes each direction. The median that was created for Kingwood Drive and North Park Drive is larger than what is the minimum requirement of the City of Houston. That was great foresight by Friendswood Development Company when we developed all this area. And as Corinne was saying, I work for AECOM, well, I work part-time for AECOM, I'm half retired right now. But Turner, Colley, and Braden were the engineers for Friendswood Development Company out here, and I was involved with all the mud districts out here for about 20 years, helping develop this out. And so many of the areas out here, some of the pavement and stuff needs to be redone. We need to widen the pavement. It was set up eventually to go to 6 lanes or 3 lanes each way on some of these major thoroughfares. If you look at some of the major thoroughfares in the Woodlands, they've already gone to 3 lanes. And we're very sensitive also. The Mobility Committee, which has only 3 of the directors on it from the TERS board, but the other 5 or so members of the steering committee are concerned residents, such as Corinne, is on the mobility board with us, and several other businessmen here in the Kingwood area, and ladies. And we have been conscientiously trying to make sure that we maintain the same quality of life as far as the tree vegetation and these sorts of issues. I've gone out and actually have paint striped myself on Kingwood Drive and North Park Drive, the areas that would be affected by the widening to 3 lanes, and it impacts a very small, we're only talking about widening to the inside of the median 9 feet. The existing lanes that are out there right now are 12-foot lanes. When you go from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, all 3 lanes then get narrowed down to 11-foot lanes, which are adequate according to the design criteria. So when you widen from what is now 25 feet wide lanes, 25 foot of pavement back to back of the curbs, you add only 9 more feet. So, the amount of trees would be minimal. So anyway, we're going forward with those improvements. Kingwood Drive improvements, North Park Drive future improvements. We're working with Montgomery County on a piece of the North Park that needs to be the ditch closed in, storm sewer put in there, and let's improve that to 3 lanes. And then there's also a plan to eventually take Woodland Hills Drive down to Hamlin Road and out, or even, and these projects are what we think can happen in 10 years. Since about Woodland Hills Drive is a major thoroughfare, extending it across the river in the future is also still a possibility. That's on the major thoroughfare plan. But whether or not that's probably not going to happen in 10 years. The city, 4 minutes, okay. Now, quickly going to the, if you'll flip next screen, I want to mention one of the most recent developments that we've entered into is with Levitt Commercial. They're looking at redeveloping the Kings Crossing apartments. And on the Kingwood Drive is here, and Westlake Houston Parkway, it's on basically the northeast corner of that area. That apartment complex was built, a long time ago. It's gone through about 4 owners now. And Levitt Commercial has bought this 33 acres of land. Jeff Mallett has the other 8 acres over here. And our development agreement is for the entire piece of property to redevelop it from apartments to more commercial. And Levitt has actually now purchased the property. They own it, and they're working with the residents to little by little transition them out so they can go ahead and proceed with their development. Now, this picture and the next one is from their website and what they're publicly providing at this time. A lot of the information that's here, I see no problem with the data they've got, because when we did traffic counts and stuff, they were all in this same number range. They had another consultant looking at those numbers. If you'll flip one more. The development plan that Levitt has, now Jeff Mallett's property over here, the 8 acres, there's not a very decent plan for it yet. They're still studying it. This is the current plan that Levitt's looking at. As you can see, they've got a major anchor grocery store shown up here, another secondary anchor here of about 48,000 square feet. This one up here is 97,000 square feet. Then, in addition to that, they're looking at perhaps some sort of a service station facility here that could be in conjunction with the grocer. Now, none of these sites have been contracted with yet, so I don't know any specific names. And Burdette Huffman, who's the representative from their organization, was not comfortable divulging any information at this time until they have a signed contract. There's no done deal. So anyway, the site right now, and it's subject to change, especially these type of development. They'll work and go with developers however they want. They are showing what looks like a couple of bank sites here and here, a couple of fast food facilities. Excuse me, that's a bank and this is a bank. The 2 fast food facilities, and then the others are just general retail pads. Of course, we're all hoping that they'll bring in at least one, what we call a upscale restaurant, and working on that. And then also there was a suggestion for Krispy Kreme. So anyway, there's no contracts for anything yet. But this is the general plan. There is an existing lake that they're planning on keeping part of it. Over in this area, there will be a detention pond. Okay, down to 1 minute, huh? Okay, and then the development will fit in with just north of here is the Kingwood Community Center. So this is hoped to blend all in with that. So in a quick nutshell, that's the current plan of attack. Correct?
Questions?
Yeah, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So that strip along Westlake Houston Parkway, that has some of the prettiest trees that make
Yes.
a canopy over the road. Are they planning on keeping those trees?
Yes, ma'am. They're along here, now that we're talking about, along here and all along Kingwood Drive, they are going to clear out some of the undergrowth so you can see through, but matter of fact, in their agreement with Friendswood, because they had to get Friendswood's approval for architectural and this commercial, Friendswood actually went out and flagged the trees they could not take down. And made sure they were aware of the specimen oak trees in there that they want left. So, there will be a trail system going through here to connect everything throughout Kingwood. Okay?
Did you say something about the extension of Kingwood Drive, or what, there's an extension somewhere that might happen?
Oh, that's on Woodland Hills Drive down to Hamlin Road. Okay, Woodland Hills Drive goes down to the River Grove Park.
Right.
It's only 2 lanes. We would extend it as 4 lanes down and connect to Hamlin and make Hamlin 4 lanes over to 59. Now, where it connects to 59, we were going to try to take it back over to Sorter's McCullen Road overpass. Right there where the overpass is now, across 59. If you take that and connect it there, that makes more sense than trying to connect it into the service road that you can't go anywhere. So, okay, any other questions?
I
Thank you
just
very
wanted
much.
to mention,
Oh.
Burdette Huffman with this development has confirmed to speak in April at our
Right.
Bizcom, so he'll have more information.
Teaser.
and-
Should have some contracts by then.
Right.
All right, thank
Okay,
you so
thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you. So obviously a lot is going on right here in your community. Like Stan said, unfortunately the contracts aren't signed, so we can't reveal who they're even talking to, but I'm sure, okay, who here, my little quick survey, who here has heard that HEB is moving into that, right? Everybody, yeah, but that is not confirmed. No one has signed a contract, okay? So let's see, next we have the lovely Vivian Bond from Memorial Herman Northeast, who's going to be telling us about sports events.
Thank you for having us here. We appreciate it very, very much. First of all, how many many of you were here last BizCom? A few of you. So some of these faces may or may not look familiar, but you had the opportunity to hear Heath Rushing speak about the Memorial Hermann Medical Group, which is actually in the similar location of the development that's occurring, Westlake Houston and Kingwood Drive. Just as that meeting was occurring, we were getting ready to open our medical group location with our two providers, Dr. Dawn Doe, and I'm going to ask her to stand up and just wave to you. And Dr. Gabe Hodges, and I'll ask him to stand up and wave as well. Neither one of them were available to be at that meeting, and we felt like it was very important to have them here, so you could actually have the opportunity to meet the physicians who are now in your community. Dr. Dawn Doe is a family medicine practitioner. She helped us start our convenient care center that's over in the Summerwood area. And when she heard that we were expanding into the Kingwood market, she couldn't stay away from you guys. Dr. Gabe Hodges had the opportunity to meet Dr. Doe and couldn't stay away from her and said he had to be in practice in the Kingwood community. So we're really, really proud to bring these two providers who are family practice, Dr. Doe, and internal medicine and pediatrics with Dr. Hodges. So these two providers can serve all of your family needs. So if you've already heard this presentation, why am I bringing it up now? As you know, in the Lake Houston area, we continue to grow and we continue to develop. So I'm going to come back to their location in just a minute as I give you that teaser that there is continued growth. I'm going to highlight our sports medicine program, and I'm going to introduce you to somebody else who is in the current location. Many people don't know the comprehensive nature of our sports medicine program within Memorial Hermann, but we partner with a multitude of organizations. First of all, school districts. Dr. Sconzo, thank you for allowing us that opportunity. With that sports medicine program, we have physicians who participate in all kinds of athletic-related events. We have physicians who are on the sidelines of Friday night football games for many of the area schools. They also host Saturday morning injury clinics. So if you have one of your high school kiddos or athletic kiddos who are injured on the field Friday night, these guys open up their practice on Saturday morning so that they can be seen expeditiously and hopefully get them returned to play as quickly as possible. We also have physicians who make training room rounds. So if your student athletes are injured, they'll go out on a Wednesday afternoon and do an initial assessment of your kiddo. In addition to that, we have an outreach athletic trainer who serves as a liaison between our physicians and the athletic trainers in the school districts. We also do concussion testing for your kiddos. You've probably heard about concussions in sports a lot in the news, lately. So we provide all of Humboldt ISD with a baseline concussion test that's utilized as a part of a concussion exam if your student athlete has a head impact injury. In addition to that, in April and May, we provide athletic physicals at the local schools. Those athletic physicals are slightly different than your normal athletic physical that you get at your doctor's that your student may get at their doctor's office. 2 years ago, we added EKGs for all incoming 9th graders, which is not done in a typical athletic physical. So we wanted to get out ahead of the game and start providing this added service to help ensure that your students are safe as they play sports. In addition to that, if there is a student injury, we have a fast track process into our emergency department. So you can get in and be seen, your student can get into the emergency room and be seen expeditiously. We have similar relationships with a lot of the club sports as well. And I'm not going to go through each of them, but you may recognize some logos up there of affiliation agreements that we provide a similar level of service to. So who are the fabulous doctors who come out and spend their Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday afternoons at many of the local football games? We've got Dr. Vasil Fedorov, who's been with us for several years, but because we've had so much support, this year we've had to add 2 new orthopedic surgeons. One of them, Dr. George Azude, who's with us today, so I'm going to ask him to stand up so you can see his real face, not just his photo. as well. We're really, really proud of this team. This is the only orthopedic group in the area that are not only orthopedic surgeons, but they've received additional fellowship training in particular areas. For Dr. Fedorov and Dr. Azude, that's sports medicine. And to round that out, Dr. Cusick has done a shoulder and elbow fellowship as well. These guys have not only served as team physicians in Humble ISD, all three of them have experience with professional sports teams as well. So hopefully that gives you a lot of confidence in the event that your students may be injured. In addition to our three orthopedic surgeons, we have Dr. Sean Weaver, who's a family practice sports medicine trained physician. He's also affiliated with UT physicians as are Dr. Azude, Fedorov, and Cusick. And we added, as a member of our sports medicine team, Dexter Upton, which brings me back to the Kingwood location. In addition to Dr. Doe and Dr. Hodges, Dexter joined our Memorial Hermann Medical Group location with sports medicine and rehab, and I'm going to give him about 30 seconds to let you know what he does in the Kingwood location.
Okay, so I'd like to thank y'all for letting me be here. I provide a lot of orthopedic kind of comprehensive care from ages 8 to 108, whether that be the high school athlete or the elder adult. Any joint pains, aches, or if it's vestibular or balance issues, I can take care of all those needs. And I'd also like to invite y'all out to our location. If you have any questions, I'm always there, so just stop by and ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
So as you've seen, we've added a few individuals, Dr. Doe, Dr. Hodges, and Dexter, into Kingwood. And of course, we can't stop there as we continue to grow in this market. We're really proud to announce that one of our UT orthopedic surgeons will be joining the Kingwood location. So you have orthopedic surgery options in your neighborhood close to home. And we anticipate that'll happen once we complete our x-ray build out sometime around the first quarter of 2015.
Okay, so on to our final presenter. One of the amazing things that the Lake Houston Chamber does is we have an economic development division, and Michael Pratt works in that. And what that does, if you guys aren't familiar with economic development, is what they do is focus on attracting businesses to come and set up shop here in the Lake Houston area. There's lots of great places. First of all, we want them all in Texas, right? But not only that, we don't want them over in Spring and at the Woodlands. We want them here. We want great, amazing places to set up shop here and have their kids go to our schools and go to Memorial Hermann and so forth. So we have an economic development division that puts these presentations together, showcases what an amazing place it is to be here. And so Michael Pratt is going to get up and give you a quick presentation on some wonderful things that their group has been doing.
So not really going to talk too much about jobs and stuff like that. One thing kind of that wasn't mentioned is really retaining the businesses that we have, because that's where most job creation comes from, is really kind of the most important thing that we do. And obviously, you know, attracting the big guys as well is something that we do as well. That's important. But today, and I'm always available, by the way, if you ever have any questions, or you can call me, email me. We have our website that I'll kind of show you at the end. So I encourage everyone to kind of contact me if you have any kind of separate issues that I don't talk about today or that aren't ever covered. I'm always available. So today I'll just talk more, focus on Kingwood and really the residential and population growth that's going on right now. So first, kind of just take you through some residential population numbers. We've got kind of some commercial development going on that Stan kind of already covered, so we might not spend too much time on that, but just really the current population and household levels, the 2019 projections, and then kind of add my little local kind of understanding expertise in there as well for a little bit of analysis. So this is the whole Lake Houston area residential population numbers and growth and change that we've gone through from 1980 and then what's projected for 2019. So currently, right now, we've got about 240,000 residents in the Lake Houston area. That's a 6 zip code area. So about, let's say 240, 250,000 folks right now. Projected to be close to 260,000 by 2019. Now, obviously, from 1980 to 1990, we almost pretty much doubled, more than doubled. So here is all the zip codes. So this is the individual kind of population and household numbers, and this is by descending order. So 346 kind of has the most population, and then going down to 345. So that's kind of the breakdown of the household and population numbers right now for 2014 for the whole Lake Houston area. Again, this is kind of a graphic that you can break down that takes these numbers and kind of puts them onto a map so you can kind of know where all the zip codes are. And this is our service area. It's very large, and this is kind of what the chamber and the EDP is what we're focused on. So just going into Kingwood, just Kingwood. So that's 77345 and 77339. We've got median, average income levels, and you can see obviously it's projected to grow into 2019, which is important. Something else that's important to notice is the increase in the median age. So, as time goes on, we'll have an aging population that'll age in place, so it's important to keep that in mind as far as our development for the future goes, and make sure that we're, taking care of our population as best that we can. Household and population growth is kind of the next thing that we'll really look into, because I think that's the thing that'll have the most impact on folks right now and into the future. So again, this was the kind of historical growth that we've seen in just Kingwood only, from about 21,000 citizens in 1980 to now about 67,000. 68,000 right now today. We are projected, so the computer models, they take the past and kind of an idea of current growth, and they extrapolate that to 5-year projections. So Kingwood is projected to have an 8% residential population growth between now and 2019. However, we know that that is not true. I know it's not true, and I'm about to tell you why. This is something that we worked really hard on this year. It can be found on page 9 of this magazine, located right here on this table. If you don't want to pick up a piece of paper or look at paper and you'd rather look at it on a computer screen, you can go to the EDP or the chamber website, and that magazine is linked as well. This is all of the residential, multifamily, and single-family residential growth that we know is going to take place. Either it's under construction right now, or it's scheduled for construction. Each one of these numbers on the map corresponds to the number right here, which it's hard to see, I know, but in the magazine and online it's a lot easier. So all of this residential growth equals about 13, and this is all 6 zip codes in the Lake Houston area, equals about 13,000 residential units. So those are either under construction or planned for construction. So what that means for Kingwood, which is right now, like I said, we've got about 26,000 households and about 68,000 residents. So the computer extrapolation says that by 2019, that will grow from about 68 to about 73,000, and households will grow from about 26,000 to 28. That's completely false. That's not true. It's going to be probably, just based on what we know is going on, it's going to be closer to 80,000 residents. So about 5.5 or about 5,500 more residents we know are gonna be here than what's currently projected. So about 80,000 will be the population of Kingwood, give or take, by 2019. And we know that the household growth will be, 32,000, so about 4,000 more than what, past growth rates would kind of predict. So, and again, these numbers are just to indicate the information that you can find on each individual development in the magazine. So if you want to see what River Point Village, the square footage and the average home price and things like that, all that information can be found in the magazine, either there or online. So total for Kingwood, we know that the residential units under construction or planned is just over 4,000. So if you take that number, 4,283, and you multiply it by what the average household size, which is 2.6 is the average household size of Kingwood, then you get these numbers right here. So that's kind of how I figured that out. And, good or bad, that's what's going to happen. So we've got a lot of household and residential growth coming in the next 5 years here, right now and in the next 5 years in the Kingwood area. And again, these are, MF is multifamily, SF single family. And again, this is all that information kind of on each little subdivision can be found right here in that text below. Stan already covered this. Commercial development, Kingwood Main Street, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great development. We need more kind of high level, very good, well done, quality commercial development in the Kingwood and Lake Houston area. So this is important to have. I think everyone kind of has heard about Kings Creek. The top, I think most important things is the 1 million square feet of office space, which will allow companies and good job growth in the area. Luxury kind of condo apartments, which is what kind of empty nesters and then kind of also millennials, those two cohorts of the population, which are the highest kind of cohorts of our population, will be wanting to live in, so that's good to meet those demands. Also, Kingwood Park, kind of the same model, mixed use, modern, commercial, living, shopping, working, Class A office space, high-end retail, and high-end residential units, jobs, quality public spaces, and amenities. So I think these are all important for the area to have to not just retain the current population, but also attract, future residents and businesses and companies. Shops at Kingsgate, which is at Kingwood Drive, just before you get to 494. That's going under redevelopment and renovation. I think most folks have kind of heard about that. So the main idea behind that renovation is to try to just increase the usage, make it more kind of people friendly. And Generation Park will be having its mixed use ESPA component is under construction right now. So it's more just a commercial kind of mixed use space. Job numbers, stuff like that. Like I said, if you're interested, we can talk about that later. If you want to email me, call me on the phone to get a better idea of the types of jobs and companies that have been coming into the area and that we've been trying to focus on. I'm always available to talk about that. And our website has all the information that I've just covered. So if you ever want to take the time and look at it or explore around there, the website, the development map, everything on there is available 24/7, so I encourage everyone to go there and sign up for the EDP quarterly newsletter, our Facebook and Twitter page, which I try to keep updated information always flowing to. So appreciate your time, and like I said, I'm always available if anyone has any questions or comments or like to chat. So thanks.
We're going to let you guys go. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. You guys have a wonderful and very safe season. Thanks again.